Hello, everyone, and welcome to the Files Obscura podcast. This episode is brought to you by the Anchor app. If you're like me and probably didn't know where to go to start a podcast or didn't know what to do, then you'll be very glad to hear that the Anchor app is free to download and gives you everything you need available on your phone or your laptop. And you'll be given all the tools you'll need to edit, to play music in the background, to have live guests record your episodes with you, and so much more. Anchor also allows you to distribute your podcast anywhere that you want to be heard, such as Spotify, Apple Podcasts, Google Podcasts, and the list goes on. I know ourselves, so far, we have at least 7 platforms. And another great thing is that you're able to start making money for your podcast with absolutely no minimum listenership. So if you're interested in starting tomorrow, you can also start recording advertisements tomorrow if you were so interested. But everyone goes at their own pace. All you need to know is that this is everything you need to make a podcast and so much more to help you along the way. It's user-friendly and easy to figure out, as time goes on and you figure yourself out. So all you need to do is go download the free Anchor app or go to anchor.fm to get started. Once again, that was anchor.fm to get started.
Hi everyone, I'm Crystal and I host the podcast Alternative Interests with my best friend Elle. We're Washington natives that love true crime, the supernatural, and all things weird, dark, and spooky. Join us every week as we take turns sharing our own twists on the garbage humans that commit crimes, or a paranormal story that we have been obsessing over. Whatever topic we cover, this show is sure to capture all of your alternative interests. Check us out on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, Stitcher, or wherever you listen to podcasts.
Hello, everyone, and welcome to another episode of Files Obscura. Just to let you guys know, you can always follow us and stay up to date at our Instagram and Twitter at Files Obscura. And you can get caught up with our videos on YouTube if that's where you guys prefer, on our Files Obscura webpage. I am messing that up. But as always, we have a fun episode today, but I have some important news at the very end of this related to animal abuse and some things that I found on Instagram. Some things that have been found. It's pretty heavy. It's pretty hard to watch, I'm going to be honest. And I just got done watching some more today just to see what this asshole was posting. But like I said, we will get into that later. We are talking about a lot of heavy discussions revolving around abuse, murder, and the internet, and just how police handle cases that aren't directly violent towards people. And it's hard and it's heavy to deal with. But if there are other discussions or anything else that you'd like to talk about in the future, which we will be hoping to talk about, with this case and others like it, you can go ahead and follow us in the Discord. We will have everything posted in our descriptions, so that way you can go and find us pretty easily. We hope to have a pretty active discussion, at least about this, and hopefully in the future this will spawn other important discussions and just conversations for everyone, and we hope ideally that that's a good place for that to start. So we want to try to show a little love to our Discord server. Yeah, as always, we got some guests today. We got some co-hosts. We are joined with Vladimir.
Hey there.
And we are joined with Cece today.
Hi again, guys.
I'm aware I missed out on the last episode, so
it's all right. The last episode was a little problematic, but we got the episode through. I was really proud of it that we at least got the information across. I just hated the fact that the audio didn't come out as I intended. But
it'll happen sometimes, though.
It happens, we were never going to bat 1,000. I knew it. But I just intend to improve every week. Mm-hmm. But today we're going to be talking about a pretty heavy case. If you know the name Luka Magnotta, you're going to know this story pretty well. He was a pretty big name in Canada for a while.
Okay.
He would be very well known for how he manipulated people on the internet with, videos of animal abuse before it led up to an actual murder.
Jeez.
He would
That is heavy.
evade police officers and, travel internationally, constantly evading Interpol until he was found.
Why does this feel like something I might have heard about?
You probably did, because it was international news for a while.
This is recent, right?
I believe he was arrested in 2014. With everything that, like I said, we'll talk about afterwards, I didn't write down as many notes about the case. I try to get the important information across, because there's a lot of details that were found online that you can find in your own time that really just corroborates a lot of the same information that I'll be brushing over. So if there's something and I don't say it, trust me, I heard about it because I was fascinated with this case before we even started the podcast. It's hard to cover everything, and it's even harder to watch it. It punched me in my gut a lot. Yeah. But as always, let's get started with the episode.
Absolutely.
As always, we start with 2 truths and a lie. Are you guys ready?
I'm ready.
Hell yeah. I'm ready. I'm gonna win this one, I'm certain.
So the man that we know as Luka Magnotta, he would become infamous, online and in the world, as he would post videos of him, showing animal abuse and murder, along with, the actual murder of a human being that would be called Jun Lin or Justin Lin, who he was a Chinese immigrant.
Okay.
So that's statement number 1.
That's statement number 1. All right.
Okay. Luka would also at one point pursue a relationship with a woman known as Carla Homolka. And if that name sticks out to you for any reason, it's because she was the pair of Ken and Barbie killers. That was infamous in Canada for, I believe, killing a bunch of children. Oh, yeah.
Oh, God.
Wait, so you're telling me this murderer might have ties with another murderer?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, interesting.
Yeah.
Casual.
Very casual.
Cool. It's a crossover episode.
Yeah, I mean, I do want to get into their case, but we're not quite at that point, because I did want to look into it for this episode, but I felt like there was enough material. It deserves its own time.
All right.
And then lastly, of course, Luka, he would actually, when he was finally caught and, sent back to Canada to be tried, he was actually captured in an online cafe in Germany looking at articles about himself in the news.
I quite like that idea, to be fair.
That's
Oh yeah,
that's hilarious. Actually, that's how they catch him. That's fun.
That's definitely a truth. That's definitely a truth, because I remember something. I think anything so similar.
Yeah, you think so?
Yeah.
Okay.
All right. So I think the false statement is probably the second one.
You think the second one?
Yeah. I'm gonna say second one too. That's what I thought as well.
You guys share?
Yeah.
Okay. I'll let you guys sit on it.
You know what? I'm switching my answer. I think it's the first one.
You think it's the first one?
Yeah.
Okay. You're gonna stick with the second one, Cece?
I'm sticking to the second. I believe in myself.
The first one, Vlad?
I'm gonna stick with the first one.
All right. I'm gonna go ahead and lock you guys in.
All right.
All right. So as I always do, I try to get some background information, some context to understand, certain details about whatever story we are going to be talking about. And with animal abuse, what else do I do but look up, the ASPCA website, Humane Society, and, just try to get some general information and a bit of facts, to kind of give some sense of reality to what we're talking about. Animal abuse is often described as the infliction by neglect or commission by humans of suffering or harm upon any non-human creature. Most cases are honestly never reported, as they are not compiled by, any state or federal agencies here in the United States, making an accurate estimate completely impossible.
Oh, that's just delightful.
Oh, it's pretty bad. Cruelty and neglect across all, social and economic bounds are very common, and is common in both rural and urban areas. It often is strongly correlated, with other more violent crimes, but other large cases of animal abuse comes from, hoarding behavior,
as it leads to, massive neglect when people house more animals they can support. If you watched A&E for a while and saw, the show Hoarders and everything, I can't tell you.
Yeah, I've seen some of that.
I can't tell you how many videos I would see of these ladies just with hundreds of cats, just everywhere, and they just look so malnourished and everything. And it just was horrible.
Yeah.
Or it'll be 2 or 3 big dogs who are kept in small cages who just cannot move.
Oh yeah, it's pretty bad.
I know we also have an issue with too many animals in shelters, and that leads to all those animals getting killed off at the end. So, because
it's so nasty.
I really feel like more people should adopt.
Yeah.
Just like instead of having to like buy one from like a breeder or something, just adopt one. Come on, you're making a.
Yeah, adopt, don't shop.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, it's horrible, and we could go on and on about all the wrongs of animal injustice, but we don't have time.
Yeah.
And cruelty and violence, stuff like that is part of a more generalized discussion I wanted to have in the future, but that would lead to other rabbit holes about free will and rights and stuff like that.
Yeah.
So looking in a bit more, I looked into more accurate information about intentional abuse, which is predominantly men under the 30s, whereas statistics for hoarders tend to be women over their 60s. So very different types of people committing very different but still equally as bad forms of animal abuse and neglect. And like I said, it happens so often, and it's very underreported. So just the true extent of how bad this is it's hard to know for sure.
Yeah.
At least here in the United States, 46 out of 50 states have felony provisions that are first offense provisions. But there are 4 states, which are Pennsylvania, Ohio, Iowa, and Mississippi, that have laws that apply to felony charges only to subsequent offenses. So what that means is that there are 4 states in the United States, 4 states here in the U.S. where it's only a felony charge of animal abuse after it's already happened once.
Oh, come on, that's bullshit.
So, okay, this kind of feels similar to the whole thing about it's like, oh, you can't, like, if some, like, okay, a lot of people have gotten away with committing crimes because maybe there were a lot of signs that this person was about to commit a crime, or they have certain personality traits where you'd be like, this guy's kind of sketchy, I don't trust them, and everybody will be like, nah, don't worry about it, it's gonna be fine. Commits the crime everyone's been warning you about, and it's like, well, it's too late now. Yeah. Right? It's like you put him in jail or whatever, it doesn't matter, he already killed someone. So it's messed up. Like,
it is, and it's hard to push for this when there's not a lot of people talking about it. There's not a lot of legislation that's out there that's focused on animal rights right now, especially. And this is not just a problem in the United States. This is actually a really big international problem where government agencies aren't looking into this as hard as they probably should for what this is. But of course, there's always the the arguments. There's so many other things to worry about, and to an extent, they're right. There are a bunch of other things to worry about, but you can't just let this go on forever. Their pushes for animal rights have extended decades.
Yeah.
So it's people have been worried about it for a long time. It's not anything new. But in Canada, where the case happened, predominantly, I found out that it was often considered weak in its animal cruelty laws. Finding out that in 2014, Canada actually received a D out of the possible grades A through G on the World Animal Protections Index.
Oh, that's nasty. That's bad.
Sections 444 to 447 of Canada's Criminal Code prohibits causing unnecessary pain, suffering, or injury to an animal or bird, and causing damage or injury by willful neglect, which sounds great until you look in and realize that these are only special provisions to protect cattle, horses, mules, asses, pigs, sheep, and goats, but excludes chickens and fish, which is the majority of food farmed in Canada. These laws also only really cover transportation and loading. It does not cover housing and breeding.
So dogs and cats are not.
Not for Canada.
Pets don't count, basically.
It's cats, dogs, horses, and livestock that really suffer most of the abuse. Mostly cats and dogs, especially here in the United States. But in Canada specifically, it's mostly livestock. Because there's been numerous reports that I saw that were talking about how there would be these independent farmers who would, be trying to kill these cows, for food, and they would just be trying to hang it, just strangle it.
What the hell?
There would be reports about people kicking.
Oh, that's so cruel.
Oh yeah, it was bad. So, there was just reports after reports after reports on this, and I did not want to just depress myself going in.
Yeah.
I really I couldn't.
But it goes without saying it's an issue in Canada, so.
Mm-hmm. Oh, it's an issue. Like I said, it's an issue in a lot of other places, but in Canada specifically, I wanted to give some context. And it helps later on whenever we discuss the police involvement as to why it was so hard, to cover, where this guy was when these videos were being posted, because that's ultimately what gained his infamy. But we'll talk about it more in the trial. But one thing that did come up while researching this was that he would suffer from a borderline personality disorder, which is often characterized by unstable moods and behaviors in relationships. The cause itself isn't well understood, but is often diagnosed based on symptoms, which I found out, stuff like fear of abandonment, unstable relationships, unclear or shifting self-images, which Luka really suffered from. Impulsive, self-destructive behaviors, self-harm, extreme emotional mood swings, which a lot of his exes and people that grew up with him would say that he would really go through after, he graduated high school and stuff. Chronic feelings of emptiness, explosive anger, which if you ever go back into his notes or his posts on Facebook and stuff, you would see stuff like that as he would taunt people, and feeling suspicious or out of touch with reality, which really kind of explains a lot of Luka's mental states as you see what happens.
Is this like one of those, I think everyone's watching me kind of situations?
Well, here's the thing. He wanted attention. He wasn't shy about it. He wasn't hiding from it. He did everything he did because he craved that attention.
Hence finding him, looking up posts about himself.
But it is also important to understand that bipolar personality disorder, or BPD, can be cured with specialized treatments over time. Developing appropriate habits and responses can rewire the brain to help those who suffer. So it's not impossible to get over this. It's not impossible to live with this. It's just important to understand what it does to you.
Yeah.
I actually know somebody who's recently diagnosed with BPD.
Really?
Yes. I'm not going to talk too much about it because I don't want to out them, obviously. But they haven't been given medication for it because it's not as extreme as being bipolar itself. Because they have borderline personality disorder, and borderline personality disorder doesn't last, quote unquote, as long in terms of the episodes. So whilst bipolar may have a downed episode that will last 2, 3, 4 weeks at a time, borderline will last far shorter.
Yeah.
So they're not getting medication, and it's absolute BS.
Yeah, and it's hard to really get ahead to understand how severe certain people are, because you can still be really good at not showing these things, because often with it comes, recurring symptoms of, depression, anxiety, paranoia, similar things, which develop other habits of coping that make you seem normal and doesn't really always allude to BPD.
Yeah.
Like I said, you get diagnosed by your symptoms, and that takes time to really understand. So it also depends on how open and honest you are, which Luka lied severely. He would always craft these images and fake posts of himself online. But he would also be told by his psychologist, as he went a couple times, that he needed to take his medicine, otherwise he'd be screwed up.
Yeah.
And he didn't.
I think part of it would be as well that people don't want to appear ill. People don't want to appear sick or broken, quote unquote.
They don't want to be weak.
Yeah.
Yeah. I don't know how much that necessarily played into Luka's mindset, but probably talking about some of his life as he grew up would give some context to who he would become So let's go into some, a little history about Luka.
Yeah.
The man who would be named Luka Magnotta, was born Eric Clinton Kirk Newman on July 24th in 1982. He would grow up in Scarborough, Ontario. He would claim his mother was like clinically obsessed with cleanliness and would often lock him and his siblings outside so that way she would be able to clean and keep the house clean. One story, he claims his mother even left their pet rabbits, the kids' pet rabbits, out in the cold to freeze to death. His father would be diagnosed with schizophrenia in 1994 and would later divorce his mother, which caused a lot of problems. This led him to moving in with his grandmother and his grandfather, to which Phyllis, his grandmother, he became really attached to. Was one of his emotional pillars, I guess you could say.
Yeah.
But this also wasn't meant to last, as they would eventually get a divorce. During this time, while he was living with them, she would homeschool him, saying that the world is a dirty place and stuff like this, and would really shape a lot of how he thought. Eric would have to move back in with his mother, and his mother had a boyfriend at the time, which he called a monster. He did not like him. I saw a lot of articles that quoted this, but nothing that really spoke exactly what this boyfriend did. I don't know if he was just an asshole or if he actually did anything to Luka. So I don't know how much that might have played into his life, because when we talk about his mindset at this time, it was very fractured, and he did not have a good self-image at the time, and it really played into what would motivate him later on. At this time too, like I said, because his parents were divorced, his dad and him grew apart, and his dad would later say a lot of things about Luka that just doesn't paint him in a pretty light. At this time, whenever he starts developing, I guess, narcissism, but he did speak highly of only one person in his family, his sister. His sister Melissa, which is one of the few people he would ever call, like a beautiful person. He was very vain. He was very prideful of his looks and everything, and he didn't really care about talking about anybody but himself and his looks. Because he would, early in school, he wouldn't really stand out much and everything.
Yeah.
He wouldn't talk to a lot of people. He wasn't particularly good looking or anything. He was, a social outcast. Even during high school and close to his graduation, he would go to seek help, psychiatric help, to try to figure out what was wrong. To which he'd be told that he'd need medication for life. He would be given antipsychotics, and he would be told to take them regularly and never forget, which plays into a lot of what happened later on. In 2003, he would start to appear in some gay porn, and would occasionally work as a stripper and an escort, which he was quoted saying that he loves the job and how much he gets to meet people and socialize. He would also appear as a pinup model in 2005, but he would also have his first run-in with law enforcement around this time, when he would go online to meet a woman who was 21, but she had the mental capacity of an 8 to a 12-year-old. And he used this to his advantage and convinced her to open credit accounts in her name, and racked up over $10,000 in debts. Police alleged that he also sexually assaulted her and videotaped it, but he would only plead guilty and receive a 9-month conditional sentence with 12 months probation after the Crown dropped the sexual assault charge, which fundamentally changed his life. Because if they did not stop with the sexual assault charge, he would have been put on, a sexual predators list and, be on probation for life, in theory. So he would always
think of the charge though, because it's basically sexually attract somebody who was essentially young.
They didn't, and I don't know why. I couldn't figure out why. It blows my mind. It probably was
absolute bullshit.
Well, it's probably because they didn't have proof of the videotape, so I could imagine that be a reason that, they don't have actual evidence to support the theory, so it would be dropped, and they would risk losing the whole case. you know. So it's hard because I only got speculation, so I couldn't tell you what all was, you know, said. But it only gets worse from here. You know, in 2006, this is whenever he would legally change his name from Eric to Luka. And in 2007, he would try to make it onto several reality TV shows in Canada. You know, he would start to undergo lots of plastic surgery, but would constantly be turned down from audition after audition after audition. He just wasn't the look that a lot of these networks were going for, and he just had a hard time accepting that. He would eventually have to file bankruptcy, you know, in March of 2007. You know, owing over $17,000, and was fully, you know, discharged of all these debts in December later that year. He would go on to date a transgendered woman named Barbie, and his mental state would just start to deteriorate. Could not say that word. Deteriorate and crave any attention that he could get. You know, this is the real spiral that he starts going down around this time in early 2008. He created numerous websites, accounts, and rumors, and photoshopped all kinds of images, you know, to fabricate this idea that he was a world famous model, that he lived the most luxurious lifestyle and everything, and was crazy. He created fan websites about himself. He even wrote all the comments, you know, just praising himself and everything.
That's funny because I've heard about cases like this quite often, actually. It's very, like, I don't know, I saw a YouTube video on it. There's this girl whose mom's basically, like, supported her creating a false identity, and she photoshopped herself in, like, the Met Gala and stuff like that.
Oh yes, Lily Jean.
Yeah, exactly. That's what I was thinking about.
Wow, I did not know that.
Yeah.
Lily Jean is currently quite prolific on YouTube. She's being she's being talked about by quite a few YouTubers. She has an army of fans who will dox people.
Damn, that is crazy.
She's a nasty person.
Didn't she, like, make up a lot of fake? Oh, it's believed that she made up a lot of fake accounts.
She made a lot of puppet accounts, and they would be stereotypically black or trans people. Would be like, I wish I was a producer, but I'm black, cray face, kind of thing. She's not a nice person.
Yeah,
just attention seeking, just to the worst extremes, and oh god, it's horrible. You know, I can only imagine how much farther down the rabbit hole that would take them. You know, but I pray it doesn't take them as far as it took Luka. You know,
no, I think Lily Jean is currently only 17. She's very, very young, so hopefully she grows out of it.
I mean, yeah, I hope so. We'll see. You know, in the age of the internet, it's anything can happen. You know, we're seeing society change on a mass scale every day. You know, and it's just how we are influenced really determines a lot, and we're just now as a society becoming aware of this. You know, and like to continue on, he would, like I said, make all these, you know, fan websites and fake accounts, sock puppet accounts, to inflate his own ego and present this image that, you know, he was a famous celebrity and everything. To which he would then start using this, you know, self-inflated popularity to create rumors that he was dating, you know, Karla Homolka of, you know, infamous the Ken and Barbie murders, and he crafted this image, you know, to associate himself with her online, and, you know, some more, you know, people would pay attention, but he didn't really create a big splash with this until he went on, you know, camera on TV at a news station to deny the claims that he himself started. You know, and everything, and that alone raises a lot of red flags. You know, that shows the level of just vanity that he was going under, and just his deteriorating mindset blows my mind. You know,
I must say that would get very confusing, having to deny your own lies. And, like, at what point would you get mixed up?
Because he's wanting to stir attention. You know, he wants to stir conversation. So as long as they're saying Luka Magnotta, he doesn't care what they're saying. You know, what's the old adage? Any publicity is good publicity.
Yeah.
So, oh yeah, but this is not even close to enough for him. You know, because he didn't get the amount of attention that he wanted. It got much, much, much worse. He started videos online, with the first one being labeled 3 Boys, 1 Hammer. which is a reposted video showing 3 teenagers savagely beating and killing a man, and this video would begin to stir up a lot of drama before he another video on the web that would start the rabbit hole of trying to find him, and this would be where he gets a lot of his infamy from. He posted a link that was gaining traction on a lot of online forums, and it's hard to watch. It really is, and how long it took, web sleuths and the cops to find him. They started searching 2008, 2009, I want to say, and they were searching for a good 18 and a half months to find him. 18 and a half months that he was toying with these people.
That's horrible.
He would constantly infiltrate their Facebook chat groups. He would constantly be teasing them with personal information that he would find out about certain members. Yeah, he was full on crazy. The next video that he would upload, like I said, that gained all that traction, and I'm having a hard time talking about it because I've seen the video. It goes against, some unwritten rule on the internet. If you've been on the internet long enough, that there's rules to the internet. Very, very famous one being Rule 34. If it exists, there's porn of it.
Yeah.
There's another one that if you got a character that exists, there's a gender bent version of it. All these other rules that dictate things that you will encounter, searching the internet on any website.
Okay.
There is an unwritten rule that most people online, tend to follow, known as Rule 0. You don't fuck with cats. And Luka Magnotta would not care about this rule. He would cross this line repeatedly. Not just cats, but dogs too. And eventually, people. He would post a video that he called One Boy, Two Kittens. And what made the video especially hard was, the first minute and a half is Luka hiding his identity, so you can't clearly see that it's him.
Yeah.
He would be petting these kittens and loving on them and showing them affection and everything.
Yeah.
Before he would take these cats, these newborn kittens, and put them in a vacuum sealed bag and turn the vacuum.
Ooh. Wow.
Yeah.
What a monster. I mean, it really, you told me he was hiding his head so he wouldn't show his face?
No, he framed the video in such a way to ensure that people saw him doing it but couldn't tell it was him. He hid clues like a Russian soap opera, that drama that was playing on TV in the background. He would leave posters, making movie references and stuff like that. And he would, live in Canada, but he bought American cigarettes and all these little details to throw people off.
So basically, the only reason he did all this was for
attention. His
I
vanity.
think what I hate about that is I'm a cat person through and through. I mean, cat's my favorite animal. I mean,
it gets.
I have a cat. I love them, and that's a horrible mental image to picture.
That's why normally I would show you guys certain video clips if I felt it was important for context, but I couldn't stomach the idea of sending it to you guys just because of how graphic it is.
Yeah.
I'm an animal person. The thing that strikes me as well is, why does he keep fucking titling it like 2 Girls, 1 Cups type? Why?
I don't know, but he does that for all of his videos.
So where does he post his stuff?
YouTube.
Really?
Yes.
Oh.
This was back in the earlier days of YouTube, where they didn't have, all these automated search algorithms to find videos like these and immediately take them off. This was back in the day, I think, still when they were having people review videos by hand, and so not every video that didn't really circulate got the attention to see that it was inappropriate content. So it went overlooked for a while, but this video that he posted wasn't like other videos like that. Obviously these videos would be taken down in time, but whenever he posted it, people were getting angry, and rightfully so. One man, a veteran named Ryan Boyle, would be amongst the first to witness the video, which he decided to take action. And he would create a Facebook group, which 4,000 people would join, called Find the Vacuum Kitten Killer. and the hunt began. Many people joined anonymously with usernames like Body Movin' and John Green, which were aliases. These two accounts would be two of the most active members to hunt Luka down and be the most productive voices going forward that I found. They would be able to think critically and logically to find details that would prove beneficial to confirm Luka's identity and stuff like that. And they would create PDF files of like the room layout so that everyone had a clear visual understanding of where everything was, how everything was, and understand the details that they witnessed. So they would start watching every post and every message that Luka would put out there, and he would begin just play games with everyone. As everyone's trying to figure him out, he would infiltrate the group. He would toy with people, like I said, with information that he knew or found out about them. Let them know it's like, hey, I'm here, and I'm loving what's going on. And he just loved the attention he was getting from this. He would go and post other videos, and it would garner more attention, especially from a certain animal rights group who I left out because they're TV and all that. TV personalities and copyright. I don't really want to get into it too much.
I got you. I know what it is. I figured it out pretty quickly.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
But they would catch the video, and obviously when they make a post about someone killing kittens in a vacuum, and they make a comment online about it, they're going to garner a lot more attention from people. So when they found all these new people see the video, and they find the group of 4,000 plus people already looking for this guy, they flood the group chat, and it gets swarmed with disinformation. On one hand, it's great. You got all these extra people looking, but on the other hand, now you have a sea of people constantly spouting wrong information, thinking they're right, following their own leads because they don't want to cooperate with people. It, snowballs, and it's going to have some pretty disastrous consequences.
Also, at what point is this useful? Because if he's doing it for attention, you're giving him the attention he wants.
Exactly.
It's really counterproductive.
Exactly, but at the same time, it is that balancing act, because you want enough people looking at it so that way you can find them.
Yeah.
But the only way to find him is that you feed his ego enough that he gives you more information. Yeah. It's the unnecessary. Up. It's the necessary evil, if you want to argue it that way. It sucks because it's your game. It's his game, and you're playing into his hand.
Yeah, you're giving him what he wants, but you don't want him to keep doing
exactly.
What he's doing.
You're trumped. There's nothing you can do about it.
So again, as well, I guess there is the argument that if you ignored it, he would just try and get more and more extreme for the attention. So at which point, really extreme if he gets attention because he's getting the attention, but then get extreme when he's not getting the attention because he wants the attention.
Yeah, it would be pretty bad, but I think Luka's just such a uniquely extreme case, but definitely an important lesson. But like I said, he would continue to seek more and more attention. And like I said, he would be posting his videos to YouTube. The username that he went by at the time was You Only Wish 500, to which he would make a comment on this video that he uploaded that all the haters can suck my huge dick, LOL. And that just kind of, why? Yeah. And that, to me, it never made sense, why he put that out there. But I guess just add fuel to the fire whatever way he can.
Likes the attention.
But something that really kind of triggered, John Green, like I said, the anonymous user who was really productive in the search for Luka. He would be the first to notice that Luka had liked a video from the movie trailer, Catch Me If You Can, which, if you're familiar with that movie, is a Leonardo DiCaprio movie and Tom Hanks movie based on real events from a counterfeiter from America who was very well at his craft of counterfeiting checks and international bills and everything, and stole, hundreds of thousands of dollars, and would lead the FBI on this international manhunt just to get him, to which he would eventually be captured and work with the FBI to catch other counterfeiters, because he was the best.
Great movie, by the way.
Oh, very good movie.
I love that
I've
movie.
never seen it.
It's fantastic. Don't let this asshole ruin it for you. But yeah,
But like I said, Luka, as John Green predicted, he did this as a way to say, fuck you, come and get me. You know, you can't touch me. You know?
Yeah.
And that's what really drove everyone to keep searching once they saw this and all that. They felt antagonized, and rightfully so. Luka was calling out the world, you know, saying, you can't get me, I'm too smart for you. Ha ha ha, you know, shit like that.
So basically being a smug prick.
Oh, exactly.
Yeah.
And while all this is going on, and you know, the animal rights activists are searching, and you know, body moving, and John Green and everyone else who was there before, you know, they keep searching for clues and all that. He would be uploading other videos, and just a horrible thing. One of the other videos, and the only other one I'm going to really be talking about until we get to June Lin, he has another kitten, to which he, you know, is loving on it again and everything, and he's petting it. He would then edit the video to where it cuts to the cat being taped with cellophane tape to the end of a broom handle, and it's just moving its head around, and it's obviously scared and shaking, and it doesn't know what's going on. And then you see at the edge of the screen, he's feeding it to a boa, which gets a hold of it and eats it.
see, I think I heard about this one. I think I definitely heard about this one.
Yeah.
But yeah, no. Damn, this guy's just like, he does not know when to stop.
Oh yeah.
Like,
It's horrible.
okay, I have friends who have pet snakes. They do feed the mice, but they're dead, frozen mice that haven't really had the chance to live.
Yeah, and
I
I've
can get
had
that.
you know, pythons where they got big enough that, you know, baby mice weren't enough, that we would have to give them rats, but you know, we didn't fucking tie the rats down with tape on the end of a broom to feed it.
Still alive. Still a fucking alive.
It would take its course.
Yeah, but it just shows like there's people out there real.
Absolutely no guilt or shame, and it's just horrible. And like I said, there was more videos. There's videos of him killing a dog, which he edits in such a way that you don't see the actual killing, but you see the aftermath and everything. And you know, other videos.
You
of
make me want to go get my cat to hug now.
Yeah, I know. Oh God, I wish I had my cat. I really do. But it's just, it's hard. It's hard seeing all that and just trying to push your emotions aside and really investigate, you know, what's going on.
Yeah.
You know, just so you can find this asshole and stop him, because it's proven, you know, that you let somebody abuse and hurt and harm animals long enough, and they're going to evolve into something more, and they're going to be a lot more dangerous. And there's proven evidence time and time again, you know, FBI statistics, the CIA statistics that prove this, you know, that you let violence fester and it will implode into something chaotic that you can't stop. You know, it's just horrible, you know.
It will always move on to humans in some shape or form.
Yeah, and I guess kind of an unintended victim that would come out of this would be that of a South African man that was not involved in this in any way, actually. One of the sock puppet accounts that Luka made used a picture off of the random accounts from a paintballer in South Africa, to which he would use this image and troll everybody on the accounts, which worked because everyone would reverse image search this, I guess, and would find out that this guy lived in, you know, South Africa, the guy in the picture.
But they basically
So they
ruined his life.
made the misconnection and said, this is the guy. Here's the problem. When, you know, Body Movement and John Green were investigating this all before, you know, the animal activists came into the group and really, you know, infected the place.
Yeah.
There's no other way to say it. They found all kinds of evidence that suggested that Luka was in North America, whether that meant Mexico, America, United States, or Canada. He was in North America. And so when they say they found somebody in South Africa, no, we're right, this, that, the other, they don't want to hear the facts. It's like, they're not even close.
It's also obviously bait. Like, I don't think this guy would actually put his face on it if he wanted this to go on as long as possible.
He did actually reveal his face at one point,
Really?
which I was going to get to here in just a minute. Yeah. I believe it's shortly after what happened next. I left the guy's name out, just for privacy reasons and everything.
Yeah.
But these animal rights activists would harass this dude to the point that he would commit suicide.
Yeah.
Yep. And they found out when there was a Facebook post speaking about their friends who had passed, battling with depression. He was found hanging. Yeah.
Oh my god.
Mm-hmm.
You've chosen a really true subject, haven't you, Aaron?
Yeah.
I mean, I already hate him enough. Like, I'm talking about the activist group.
Mhm.
Like, I mean, we know.
Oh yeah.
We know what they're.
You could tell after this, like they all that momentum that they had built up, searching for this guy really died out after that. But Body Movement and John Green found other people who were very active in the search beforehand, and they would create another private group specifically for them so they can continue working. So that way their work was not in vain. They knew he was somewhere in North America. It was only a matter of time when. At some point they would get a few images and emails that were leaked that would say, Luka would tell them in a SockBook account, hey, the person you're looking for, his name is Luka Magnotta. And when that happened, people, obviously, they searched the name. Let's see, this could be another dead end, but let's clear it. And when they did, that's when this group started noticing all the fan pages he wrote himself, all the publicity, and everyone's like, who's this well-known guy that I've never heard of? Who's this A-list celebrity that nobody knows anything about? And it seemed real at first, but then of course you start, reading between the lines, and you can tell like all the language from these different users is very similar. A lot of people are posting in the same places, in the same groups, and it just, a lot of things just weren't adding up.
Too many.
They would see all the pictures of him that he posted online, showing him in hot tubs and Lamborghinis, in Paris and in Toronto, in San Diego, XYZ. And he created this image that he would go everywhere, and he could be in 4 different countries in the same day. And everyone was like, how could this guy do this? And it took them a while, but they found out that all of these images were photoshopped. His head was cropped in on a lot of different images that he just ripped offline. You can tell because the shading and everything was off, and he tried his best, and it fooled a lot of people for a while. But when you really try to scrutinize the video, you can see where images were edited, and he swapped his face in and everything.
You got to give to him. He's fucking resourceful.
Oh yeah. Well, he spent a lot of time, just on the internet doing this. He spent years doing this. All this stuff had been there for a long time, and they also found his news report where he was denying, his alleged rumors of being, related to dating Carla Homolka. So it's just, they see just how far his narcissism has gotten.
So somebody probably made the connection. It's like, look at this narcissist, look at this other narcissist. They have a lot in common.
Yeah.
I'm just guessing. Like, it's like those people really stand out in the crowd because they want to stand out in the crowd.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, like I said, attention was his drug. He needed all eyes on him all the time. It's what got him off at the end of the day, and it was never enough. They would notify the group. They would notify Toronto police after they pretty much confirmed for a fact, like, hey, Luka's been here. He's been making videos of him abusing animals in XYZ, and they gave their information to the Toronto police. Well, like I said, with Canada having very lax animal abuse laws and everything, they didn't have any dedicated resources to truly try to hunt him down. And he slipped through their fingers time and time again. They couldn't track down his apartment. And while they were searching through this time, like I said, he would still continue to post other videos until it got too far.
Yeah.
There would be one more video that Luka would upload called One Psycho, One Ice Pick.
Oh no.
Yeah. In which he would then upload, which again, he hid his identity, but it showed him killing Jun Lin, a gay Chinese immigrant who was private about his sexuality. His family didn't really know.
I heard about that one, yeah.
He began exploring, while going to university there. A janitor would later find all of his stuff that he threw out in the trash of this apartment before he moved out, including the dismembered torso of Jun Lin and discarded pieces of Luka's identity. His passport and everything was found thrown away. And other blood-soaked items like blankets and t-shirts, and they would find the dead dog that I talked about earlier.
Imagine finding that. Imagine how scarring that would be.
It gets much worse.
God.
Luka, while he's now, when the police are after him, he decides that he's going to get on a plane and he's going to head out to Canada. So when the authorities finally, put the pieces together that, what the information that they got from these animal rights activists, and that's how they identified this group from here on out. That these activists gave them this information that they had found for quite some time and pieced it to Luka, and were trying to hunt him down, saying that he was a flight risk and everything. But by the time that they got news to the airport, he was already on his way to Paris, and they had no jurisdiction after that point. Because by the time he landed is whenever they got to, telling the airports that he can't leave. So he's already a couple steps ahead of them. He would send packages of the feet and hands to various locations. He sent a right foot to the Conservative Party headquarters in Canada, and he sent a left hand to the Left's party.
He's so gone in the head. Oh God.
Other foot somewhere I cannot remember off the top of my head, but he would also send a hand to a elementary school, I believe. Yeah.
Dude, that's just.
Yeah, it was just. It's hard to remember just how many sick things he's done.
And I think it's crazy that
I've actually lost track of all the horrible stuff he's done.
You would think that when somebody shows these signs, you would want to stop them as soon as possible, because if they can treat an animal like that, what do you think is going to stop them from doing the same thing to a person?
Exactly. And it's just,
Exactly.
Just the way, because government agencies don't treat it as important enough as they should, and it's not hunted down, and people don't talk about it as often as they should. These things get out of hand fast, and these people obviously need help. They obviously need attention, and they're not getting it.
Yeah.
So they're going to resort to more and more violent means instead of trying to do what they can to help themselves.
See, initially, when you said to me that you were talking about animal abuse online, I thought of pollution entertainment. Have you heard about pollution entertainment?
Yes.
Yeah. I was like, oh God, we're going to talk about this twat, but this is even worse.
I know.
It really makes you wonder if a person can just do this to an animal, then obviously they think of the animal as just something for them to play with.
They just see it as a toy.
And you would think if they see an animal like that, they don't see the sentience, they just see the plaything.
Mm-hmm.
They probably think the same thing about people or anything else, really. So
yeah,
I mean, it's so obvious that you would. It kind of frustrates me because I'm sure this keeps happening. Stuff like this keeps happening all around the world.
All around the world, man.
Yeah.
It's definitely still very problematic. It's still very painful whenever you do manage to see real evidence of it happening. But
I mean, I'm thinking about Kentucky Vampire, Rod, same thing. The way he treated animals, the way he treated people.
Yep.
Like, there's a correlation.
Mm-hmm. Oh, it's a proven correlation.
Yeah.
And, you know, when you don't catch it early on, it can snowball into some of the worst things. You know, and that's part of the reason I picked this case, was because I knew how severe it was, and I knew how difficult it is to, you know, spot these sometimes, because it's easy to dismiss things. It's easy to say it's not my problem to worry about, you know, because it doesn't affect me directly and stuff like that. But this, you know, goes to show just how far people can go when you don't pay attention to stuff like that.
Yeah.
You know, Luka, like I said, he would travel internationally, and he would evade, you know, police and Interpol for quite some time. For a few months, he would often make hotel rooms and reservations made in other countries, and would either only stay for, you know, only a day or a few hours, or he wouldn't show up at all. You know, so when these, you know, authorities would get leads to come try to find him, they would go to the reservations, and he would never be there. He would never show up. So they have no idea where he'd go. But after a while with manhunts, you know, and everybody trying to figure out where he would go, Luka, he would go to an online cafe in Germany. I don't remember exactly where it would be, but he would pay to use the computer that they had, and he would go ahead and look up news reports about himself. Well, at this time, you know, Interpol was sending out, you know, news broadcasts and you know, publish information about Luka and the manhunt, that they are, you know, after him. And the clerk at the time, who was, you know, running the shop, you know, so that when he saw that, that's when he called, you know, the police, and he went outside and would flag down a police officer to make sure that Luka couldn't get away. And this whole time, Luka had no idea what was going on. And the funny part of the video is when it's shown over the clerk's counter and facing the front door, you see like 12, 13 just heavily, you know, armored and like just decked out police officers of like special, like what for us would be SWAT, but whatever their special, you know, police unit is out there. And you just see like this army of people walking in just for this one skinny twat, you know.
Yeah.
It's just, oh god, it's a funny image, you know, because this whole time while Luka's traveling from place to place around Europe, he's crafting this image that he can get away with anything. He's partying, he's living it up. You know, he's smoking and chilling with all kinds of people, thinking he's untouchable.
Did he take on like an alternate identity, like a different name?
Oh yeah, he was very, you know, well crafted in, you know, being able to create a different identity. Even back whenever he was doing gay porn, he would use different names, you know, such like Jimmy and stuff. Whenever he got to Canada, by that point, whenever he threw out his passport and everything, he started trying to go under the name Kirk Trammell. You know, so that way, because that's what a lot of his reservations was under, was the name Kirk Trammell and everything. So
I like the karmic feeling of it all. Just, we finally found you, and it was from your whole carelessness. I like that.
Just blunt narcissism, you know. And it is a little poetic that's how we found him, you know.
He flew too close to the sun, like.
Well, he wanted the attention. He wanted to get caught. I mean, that's going back to the video that he liked, "Catch Me If You Can." That was a direct call out, you know.
And they did.
Yeah, they eventually did.
Yeah.
It took 1.5 years, but they got him, you know. But at that point, it was like
too late.
It was too late.
Here he killed someone.
Yeah, they tried to warn him for months and months, and they just didn't dedicate the resources of finding somebody. And when they finally, you know, took it seriously, it was only after the body was already found. It's only after, you know, murder was already committed, you know. And he almost got away with it. If he just wasn't so into himself, he probably would have successfully got away.
Yep.
You know, and it's just it's horrible, you know, with just to think just how far he could have gone. You know, it's just it's horrible to think everything that he was capable of doing and how far he was willing to get attention. You know, even part of how he acted during his court trial kind of suggested to people that he wanted more attention on himself, because he would apparently pass out or collapse in some way, you know, during trial, to which then the court would appoint, you know, 2 psychologists to examine and look him over, to which they would diagnose him with BPD and paranoid schizophrenia, which which is part of the reason I mentioned it earlier with his dad, because schizophrenia is hereditary. You know, so with that in mind, you know, the court would ask if he was fit to stand trial, to which they, you know, the psychologist would say, you know, though he's affected with, you know, all these extreme forms of mental disorder, he is very fully aware of what he did and what he's able to do now. So he is fit to stand trial. He would then go on to claim not guilty. And the court obviously found him guilty, of course. You know, and, you know, he was sentenced to prison without, you know, a chance or a possibility of parole. And his sentence would end in 2035, I believe. By then, he'll be 53. Yeah. During all this time, he would be talking with his mother too a bit, to which he would be pleading with his mom that, you know, it wasn't him, he was set up, and, you know, all this, that, and the other. Well, you shake your head, and here's the only thing that made me say, okay, I'm about 99% sure. Because he would point out in one of the early videos, one guy, two kittens, or whatever I said it was named, he would point out at near the end of the video, there's another set of hands in that video. It's not just him.
Oh, God.
He would claim somebody, I believe he said named Eduardo, was forcing him to do this. Forcing him to do it so that way he could make money online making these snuff films, you know, killing animals and everything. And to this day, we don't know who those extra set of hands belong to. And they were made so early before Junlin and Luka Magnotta ever even met up.
So it's totally possible that there was a second person involved in this whole thing.
Could be. We don't know.
And they might still be out there.
Yeah, but again, I also think maybe Luka was still the ringleader trying to bring somebody else into the fold. Maybe there's another victim we don't know about. I mean, maybe, you know, Luka took a practice round, if you would.
That's a horrible thought.
It is a horrible thought. There's nothing to prove it or suggest it, but it is a thought that came to my mind when I looked into this.
No, I think it's obviously they still ran away, and you know,
possibly. I don't know. I really don't. Because again, this is also still when like the internet's taking off and online forums are all the rage. And I mean, there's a forum for everything. If you're a sick, twisted motherfucker, you'll still find a place for you on the internet. There's cannibal cafes and stuff like that online. There are people who buy and sell drugs and buy and sell women and children and animals and all kinds of stuff. If you want to find a place to fit in, you can find it on the internet. You know, as good as it's done for us, it's also can be a breeding ground for all this horrible content. You know,
yeah.
If it can make you money, you can find it, and that's the sad truth. You know, and the last little sad cherry on top of all this, you know, is there was actually a discussion recently about Luka Magnotta being released due to the COVID-19 outbreak. However, the court luckily swiftly overruled that. It said he is not ever. Yeah, he's not coming out. But a lot of this conversation was driven by the fan club he actually garnered after this.
What the hell? What?
People would make all kinds of fan dedication websites to him.
Of course.
And plead for his innocence.
Of course.
Yeah.
Yeah. You know what? I don't know why I'm surprised, because.
Yeah, I'm not.
Yeah, there's a weird side of the internet where people like to glorify serial killers, school shooters.
That's just humans.
That's yeah. No, we love to put them on a pedestal, and it's like,
yeah, it's just it's not good overall, and you know, like I was telling you guys for a while and making some posts on Twitter and everything. When I was looking up this case, there was something that kind of fell into my lap, and now is the time to talk about it. I'm going to go ahead and start off by saying, with the information I have now, which I'm glad I waited, it seems the accounts that was posting a lot of questionable stuff on Instagram, they seem to be a troll accounts now, because everything that they've posted has been stripped from somewhere else on the internet. Nothing is an original content that they're posting, which is, I guess, good. But the fact remains that there is a user on Instagram called Acer, AESCIR, who has made different accounts with different spellings and everything, posting all kinds of just horrible videos and pictures of just various forms of animal abuse. And I've seen everything from cats, hanging to being stuck to a board with a nail gun. I've seen a dog that was hung with a blowtorch being shoved in its face. I have seen countless videos of just the worst things. I saw a video of a woman in high heels who was shoving the end of her stiletto into the anus of a kitten.
No, this is actually one I totally heard about. This was big for a really long time. What happened to that woman again?
I don't know. Like I said, these were all just the things that were being reposted. I was getting, I found a small subreddit actually called r/Acer Hunters, which has like 150 people right now that are, looking at everything that's being posted, the Bitcoin accounts, because they actually posted a Bitcoin link to pay them, and they almost got $200, whoever this person was. They have been posting, more videos of just horrible, horrible things. I couldn't stomach it after a while. And they've been teasing and antagonizing everyone online. And like I said, it seems like a troll account, but the fact remains, this is still horrible.
Yeah, it's still happening.
And the fact that they have threatened animal abuse and are reposting this content, it's still criminal, because in some of the stuff that they posted suggested that they were ransoming the life of a dog. And that's, when they started posting like their Bitcoin wallet and everything. So that way people could pay them. And it was just, other people would get in on it. There was one girl who we confirmed for a fact was a troll, because she took the name of somebody that popped up named Natalie Hillard, who we think was related, but we don't have any information that would prove it. Nothing to outright suggest that Natalie has anything to do with this or is the person behind the Acer account. But it was a name that popped up repeatedly, and one of the other trolls that popped up started saying, "Hey, this is Natalie," and stuff like that. And we could tell this is somebody who's been in the Discord chats and in the subreddit, just listening in and just trying to take advantage of the situation.
Yeah,
and it's horrible. It sucks, because I'm not a web sleuth. I'm not very good at finding all that information, but I definitely couldn't let it go without knowing what was going on. So I've tried, to stay in the subreddit and talk to people and just get, information that we know for sure. We know that they're using a VPN. We know that they have been stealing images and everything online. They've never posted anything original. The live streams that they had, up were, they never talked or anything in them. They never said anything. It's just a lot of cat and mouse games that don't mean anything. But with this case in mind that I knew about with Luka Magnotta, I know sometimes you can never be too sure, because there's always that 1% chance that it's real, and then what?
It's so difficult. It is so difficult.
Yeah, it's a lot of heavy stuff. It's really hard to try to do everything you can, and there's so many things that limit you from what you're able to do. There's so much, and the right people won't hear you out and stop this ahead of time. With everything that we've talked about, police, have already been alerted, and I believe somebody even claimed to call the FBI about this user online, and they called the local law enforcement in areas they believed that this Acer account was from. But again, without concrete proof, there's nothing we can really do. It's just it's been hard listening to this. It's been hard seeing it. But yeah, it's definitely something that I want to raise awareness about. Because obviously, nobody wants to see this. Nobody wants to know that this is going on. But more importantly, we need to want to stop it. We need to actually want to actively put an end to this, because it's not going to go away. It's still there whether you look at it or not.
Yeah.
It sucks because ideally we would have this sorted. But
You would
again,
think.
like we said before, governments just don't put enough effort in. I
Yeah.
I recently watched a YouTube channel what I'm subscribed to called Cecil McFly. She dove into Sue Files, the Sue Files of YouTube,
Okay.
and there was one case that was so bad that in the Philippines would not arrest this guy. I believe he sexually abused his pets. He physically assaulted his pets. This guy, I can't remember his name for the life of me. I can't remember either his real life name or his furry tag. But this guy had caused so much of a stir in the Philippines, and they couldn't arrest him because they had no laws against it. So the people were protesting outside his house in his neighborhood, trying to get rules so that he could be arrested and tried for physically hurting, killing, and sexually assaulting animals.
Wow.
It's really messed up that we don't have enough laws or anything really. And yeah, I mean, this has been going on forever, and it's a problem. It's clearly a problem, and it's also clearly it can lead to. I mean, it's a sign that people might be willing to hurt people.
Yeah.
So if okay, if we clearly give more attention to murders involving humans,
Yeah.
right, and that kind of stuff, why can't we do the same for animals? Just because let's say okay, fine, we can do it, but we got just, it's it hurts my head because I'm trying to figure out what's stopping us.
It just awareness is the biggest thing. Taking the amount of time necessary to understand just how big this issue is and what it leads to. A lot of people like to focus on today and today only. So when you talk about these problems that can lead to further escalation, nobody wants to think that far ahead of time. It's tomorrow. We'll deal with it tomorrow is kind of the mentality, unfortunately. And it's obviously a very unproductive mentality. And I can't change it. It's not something that's going to get solved overnight. But active pursuits to change it need to consistently happen if we want any progress in something like this. With this case, like I said, and the possible troll account that I found on Instagram and everything, it's just it's hard to realize, on a day-to-day basis that all this stuff happens, all the dark shit, still happens behind the scenes, whether it's in your face or not. It could be around the corner happening and you wouldn't know it.
You'd wish it
So
wouldn't. You really
yeah,
wish it wouldn't.
so, of course, but it's not going to be something that you can stop, inherently. So that's why raising awareness about, this kind of stuff is important. So like, I don't really try to push that people really share and everything, but this is probably an episode where you should really try to share it, raise awareness of what's going on, because this is happening right now. This is not something that happened a year ago. It didn't happen 3 years ago. It didn't happen a month ago and it's over. It's happening right now.
It's still happening, and it's going to keep happening.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I will do what I can to leave links to the subreddit and everything, so that way people know where to go to get in on this if they want, and really start investigating, but be critical about it. Be smart. Don't just look at one thing and roll with it and make all your theories fit that one detail.
Yeah.
Be cautious as well, obviously, because you don't want to see stuff if you're unable to stomach it.
Of course.
Yeah.
And be smart. But you're doing it at your own risk.
Yep.
I want that to be understood. You are doing that at your own risk. There's just, this episode was hard. I as you can tell, I'm struggling to talk about it because I just still get flashes of everything I've seen, and it's hard to stomach the fact that it happened and I witnessed it. I witnessed this crap happening even after the fact, even after years. I still witnessed it because it was recorded. It's there for all of history.
Mm-hmm.
Once it's on the internet, it's never going to be taken off.
Yeah, it's not going to go away.
Yeah, and it's hard to stomach things. I actually have not been eating well the past few days because of it.
I mean, it's
and
disgusting.
I'm ready to be done with this. I'm ready to be done with this episode.
Yeah,
I want to break away from all this. Even if it's just for a moment.
I said yesterday as well, give yourself some rest.
Yeah, it's just hard. On top of this, with all of our personal lives and work and everything, with us in the States here still battling COVID
Yeah.
because of our government's idiocracy, just idiotic level of governing us. It's a struggle every day. We're just trying to make it one day at a time right now, and it's hard. It's
Yeah.
hard not being stressed. It's hard, to be calm through all of this. So for me, I found a bit of just serenity and just the repetitious habit of just getting the podcast out every week because it gives me something to focus on. It gives me something to distract myself with everything going on. So hopefully, in the next episodes and everything we record, I'm a bit more upbeat and everything like I was, a few episodes ago.
Yeah.
But with this going on, it hit really close because, like Cece, I'm a massive animal person. I have a cat myself. His name is Pete, and I love that little bastard. I love him to death. He's an asshole, but he's my asshole.
Mm-hmm.
He was there after a very nasty breakup, and he was there for me when I moved back, between the states and everything. He was there to comfort me through a lot of difficult moments, and he's when the time came, he was there to just snuggle with me whenever I needed something. He was a good companion, for a while. I say was. He's with a friend of mine right now until I move back into my own place.
Yeah.
Just because the situation just doesn't allow it.
But I think pets really do have a very deep and personal level with a lot of people, and I think most people.
Well, for a lot of people, pets are a family member.
Yeah,
oh, absolutely. And I know a lot of people who've lost pets, and it really hits us like deeply, and it's like I said, I think we should do the most we can to help animals to just make sure that we can like create a better environment for animals. And I yeah, it breaks my heart. It really does break my heart to hear about this.
Yeah.
I don't have a pet right now, but like I said, I know people who do, and it almost feels like it would hurt me if I saw my girlfriend's if anything happened to my girlfriend's dog, it would hit me really emotionally, like really personally.
Unfortunately,
I used to have 2 guinea pigs. They caused me when Usain, and I loved them to pieces. And I remember we had Usain go missing for a couple of days. He was a black and white, long hair. He had a Mohican, he had little rosettes on his side. He was fucking adorable. I loved him to pieces. And I was in secondary school at the time, and I remember trying to find Cosmo because I couldn't find Cosmo. I went, I found him under a bush, curled up right next to his brother's body, and I remember just screaming that I'd found Usain and he was dead, and it was a pure scream of horror because those guinea pigs were absolutely everything to me at the time. They weren't even my guinea pigs; they're my little brothers, but I loved them to pieces.
Yeah. I my sister used to have a few guinea pigs and everything, and sparing the story of a couple unique instances where we found them dead. Animals have always played a very significant role in my life. As we've had all kinds of animals, like I said, from snakes to my brother's lizards, my sister's guinea pigs, and everything. My cousins used to have sugar gliders. We've had all kinds of cats and dogs, and a lot of animals growing up. So it's just it feels more personal when you hear stuff like this. But again, like I said, they're important, tales that we need to learn from. We've talked, about various other situations where, there is preventative measures that you could take. We just haven't, and it's hard, it's heavy, but I feel like we've beaten this horse enough.
Yeah.
I
think we just finished
bad jokes right there.
Yeah.
But,
oh my God.
Yeah.
All right.
But, it's just this was a heavy topic, and I knew it was going to be going in because this is a story I've known for a while. Yeah. Like I said, there's all kinds of details that I didn't write down that you guys can, look up and everything on your own time, because there's a lot of interesting details that they would find, but I didn't want to just start listing off a
Every
whole
single-
paragraph of facts and everything.
Yeah.
So, if you want to know more, it's heavily documented. It's heavily, reported, especially because most of this
wants you
happened
to know.
online.
Yeah.
So yeah, definitely go check it out and, go learn some more about it. But yeah, that was Luka Magnotta, the Butcher of Montreal, as some people call him.
Yeah, I guess we should leave
You
this
know.
episode with the message of just let's work hard and make a better environment for
Yeah.
pets and animals in general.
Mm-hmm. It's a conscious effort to take preventative measures, but when we don't, we have stories like this.
Mhm.
We have cases that are worst case scenarios. They aren't just imaginations. They have happened. And we should take them as warnings. Let's not let this happen again.
Yeah.
So, it's nice, that we have all this time to discuss, a lot of things that have been going on, with us on the podcast and everything, and we'll talk a little bit about our personal lives and what we have planned for the podcast. I'm happy that we are now at a point where we've gotten pretty consistent. We're starting to get a lot more availability, and our growth is really showing, and it's been, fantastic to hear that. We're coming up to 6 months here, in just over a month or so, I think. And I didn't think, honestly, it would be I won't say as easy, but I expected it to be harder getting to this point, because I know in my personal life I get to be pretty lazy and everything.
We've blossomed. We really have.
Yeah, and it's nice that so far we've kept an episode out every single week. I know I posted earlier that this episode was going to be late, but we're still getting it out on Tuesday, and I consider that a small win. So it's good to see, that this worked out, because I was really afraid we would lose steam few episodes in, and just lose all desire to keep this going.
Yeah, I'm glad we've made it this far.
Yeah, I am too. So we don't want to discuss too many things that are kind of on the discussion table right now, just because there's a lot of things that I know I've brought up in our little meetings about what we want to do in the future and everything, and stuff to engage with the audience and whatnot.
Yeah.
But there's definitely some more things that we want to do. But with school starting around the corner for UCC, I know you're going to university.
Second year uni, and I'm finally trying to find a job, and I've got so much to do.
Yeah, so I know you're going to be preoccupied for a little while. With Nathan, Vlad, and I, all trying to find, a lot of good work. And Nathan's still working on his band, aside from his time on the podcast when he helps us. I know a lot of us, just get really preoccupied, but we still do what we can, and I'm happy to see, how far we've gotten, how far we keep growing. So I can't wait to see where we are next year, at the same time. I would love to see how much we've grown, and, hopefully we've been able to commit to this enough that, it's self-sustaining, if you would, that the podcast can start paying for itself as we constantly improve.
Yeah.
I know we're still going to have our personal lives for a long while, but, with things keep going the way that it goes, I'm happy to see where things can take us. I'm happy with the possibilities that are before us, as I never would have imagined 6 months ago that I would even get this close whenever I was first thinking of starting the podcast. But it's been fun. It's been intense. It definitely has. We've covered some hard stories that were hard to research and hard to talk about. But I've learned a lot when it comes to researching, articles and stories. I've learned definitely how to spot, better, articles and websites to find information on.
Yeah.
But I just want to say thank you, for everything you guys have done, because it's been a lot to me,
Yeah, no problem. I'm glad I could help. Glad to be part of this podcast.
Yeah.
I never expected that when you pulled me in off of VR chat randomly that it would get to this point, in all honesty.
It's just people gotta want to take that gamble, and I took a gamble with a lot of people, asking them, and I'm glad I didn't just jump into something again like I used to in the past. You guys really proved that you wanted to stick this out and, see where this goes, and that gave me the courage to, really take this seriously and pursue this. It's a fun hobby. It really is. It's obviously a passion project for me. And I want to see where we can take this. And, I'm just been happy with everything, so it's just a lot, it's nice to have good news here. So anyways, we got to go. We've got some more things to do and we got to get started on the next episode anyways. So we'll go ahead and leave you guys with this. We hope you guys have a wonderful week and we hope to see you guys next Tuesday.
Bye, everyone.
Goodbye.
Later.